Okay. Oops. I'm not going to show you. Okay. I don't know about you, but I could watch that over and over again. It's unbelievable. How many? I have a question. How many of you think that Gilbert Stork could buy a hot dog from a Saffron truck? That had to be staged. Okay. So, we have several former group members. Actually, we have an entire list of people that have asked to share some of their memories of Gilbert Stork. And if time permits, we're going to open this up to anyone who would like to come up and make some comments. We do have to end at 9:30. They're going to close the bar at 9:30, and we have to be sort of out of here by 10 o'clock. So that's the deal. Wow. So, okay. So we have a list to start off with, and we're going to start with Ray Firestone, who I believe has the distinction of being the earliest Stork group member who's with us this evening. Ray, are you still with us? Since we have a long list, we're going to try to hold this to about 3 minutes per person. So, okay, great. Okay.
I won't run it over 3 minutes. Several years ago, they had a shindig at the chemistry department where they had a whole lot of young faculty showing what they're doing. And Gilbert was there, but he was not the center of the meeting. He was just there. And the students all said one thing that struck me. This is a great place to work. This is wonderful. I've never been so happy. It's a wonderful atmosphere here, scientifically. It went on and on. And at the end of this, I got up and made this speech. I said, in the old days, when I came to Columbia in 1951, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. The morale in the department was terrible. There was strife, During versus Elderfield, and Conroy versus Ramirez, and Lemaire versus everybody who did not acknowledge that Sadi Kano invented the second law of thermodynamics. I'll kid you not, I was in his class. And faculty were leaving, and it was really not nice. Now, new graduate students that come to the university, they feel that this is a higher level of study than undergraduate, and if you're a researcher, you're swimming in deeper water than you did before. And so they are nervous. They are nervous, especially in chemistry, where we have a lot of seminars and colloquia where you get up and talk chemistry. And they feel, they are naturally apprehensive. I know people who are still apprehensive at the age of 70. They're scared to get up and say something off the top of their head for fear they will be ridiculed. And this was, I thought, the worst thing about the graduate work there at that time. And some faculty were pretty nasty to students who said stupid things. That's not a good thing either. You could really ruin somebody. Now when Gilbert came, this atmosphere changed. And he changed it by his behavior. Not by saying anything, but just as an example. He wanted more participation from the students. He said chemistry should be fun, and you shouldn't be scared of it. And Gilbert knew how to behave in this way. Here's how he did it. I'll give you one example that I remember vividly. We were having a big discussion of 20 or 30 students. Gilbert was in charge, and everybody was talking. And one student got up and said something which was really stupid. This is not unusual. I've done that a lot of times. Something that was stupid, and he was therefore eligible to be put down. But Gilbert did not do that. He said, I really admired it then, and I remember it vividly. He said, well, thank you for the suggestion. That's really an interesting, original idea. This is not laughing. it's an interesting, original idea. He's trying to keep this kid going. He doesn't want him to be crushed. And he said, I don't think it'll work here. So he doesn't fool around. I don't think your idea will work here, but there are areas where it might be very useful. We should think about it. When he said that, and I've heard him do that more than once, he obviously is taking a totally different attitude toward pedagogy than most of the other faculty. And that little story will tell you how Columbia got to be a great place. And then after Gilbert was there were other excellent new faculty, Chevis and Ron and Nick and Tom. They all were in that mold, but it was Gilbert who started this. And I'll just tell you one epilogue. 18 years after that, I came back to Columbia to give a talk on some of the stuff I'm doing. And the way it was set up, faculty sat in the back and kept their mouths shut. Students sat in the front and kept their mouths open. But this is exactly the opposite of what you see in typical European universities. Faculty in the front, students in the back, and they don't let out a peep. So this is what I faced in this room. I was giving a very controversial talk, and the students were very aggressive. One after the other get up and tell me, what about this, what about that? Are you sure you're doing this right? And this went on for about an hour and a half after the talk was over. And I loved it. This was the most fun I've ever had. And I think that may have been true for the students. So that's what the side of Gilbert that is very important to me, that the fact that he was a dedicated pedagogue doesn't sound great, but this is the most important function that you do when you run a chemistry group. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Ray.